surface. I look particularly good today. The humidity is just right over here. One more. Okay, two more. Ah, wunderbar. Looking good, Carl.
Want to learn more about the Marxist agenda and other important stuff? Listen to The Ultimate Remedy with L.B. Bork, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. Right here on Revolution Radio.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll take a short break here at revolutionradio.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
Yo, good afternoon, everyone. If it's afternoon for you, that is. This is L.B. Bork. This is The Ultimate Remedy. As Carl just said, hope you're having a great day. Anyway, today is August 18th, 2020. Going to be talking about Marxist schooling, or the schooling of Marx. That was one of the things that was mandated or, demanded on the Communist Manifesto, is public school education. And as I've said to a lot of people over the years, that, all the planks of the Communist Manifesto were applied to America. That's my litmus test. I don't listen to what politicians say, or the news, or even the teachers in the schools. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is the best installation of communism in the world. It's doing exactly what they wanted. And right now they're doing, the end game. This virus, as far as I'm concerned, is 100% made to change society into more what they've wanted to do with the American people, and destroy any small businesses that they can with it. Of course, the Civil War was the main war that installed the Communist Manifesto under the 14th Amendment, and that's why I call my book The Red Amendment. And I guess I predicted what was going on 20 years ago. Of course, people don't listen. They just kind of slough things off and, think tomorrow's going to get better. Anyway, today I have with me one more time, or again, my friend Nathan from Ohio. Are you there, Nathan?
Yes, hello. How are you, LB? And how's everyone else out there?
Yeah, hope they're well. I don't know. I had a friend. I'm not going to talk about it. It's not good. Anyway, I think I'll say this. I think more people have died probably from suicides and whatever than they have from this virus.
I would buy that.
I did have a friend, her mother, his mother rather, committed suicide, and it's just sad. And these people are evil that are doing this, and I've had enough of it.
Yeah. This virus is just a far bigger cover for something else going on, and far more. This is going to get them the allowance and the acceptance of society to change things and fine-tune things, just like you had previously stated, to cater to their way of life, not to ours.
Yeah. Well, as we know, these Marxists do all kinds of things. All these Black Lives Matter things, and what's ever going on right now. That's all part of the a planned opposition. Leftist type, plot to cause disruption and, things that they can put all the businesses into the hands of one certain faction, which I call the synagogue of Satan. They want to control everything and run all the profits. And as far as I can see, I don't think corporations are going anywhere. I haven't seen that.
They're getting stronger.
Yeah, they're getting stronger. My friend Will today said the economy's bad, but Wall Street's doing pretty good. That's what he told me. He wasn't happy about it. He kind of gets some of the things, but I get upset with him all the time because he doesn't quite get it. He's in the right-left paradigm mode. He still hasn't learned. I talked to another guy today. His wife is a lefty. Just saying that, I've said this before, but notice that since women have gotten into politics, it's gotten really crappy.
Yeah.
Last 30, 40 years, 30 years.
Roughly.
It's just gotten worse and worse.
Yep.
It's Marxism. Women in politics has always been Marxist.
Well, they weren't allowed
Marxist.
to be priests either.
It wasn't you that told me that Trump just pardoned Susan B. Anthony?
I did not tell you that. That was not me.
Yeah, I think it was John Breeson told me that. And it makes sense. Some of the things Trump is doing that, they look good, but then he does something like that. It's
Right.
just, well, she's been dead a while, for one thing.
Right.
I remember, I think it was Jimmy Carter.
He's trying to get votes.
What?
Said it sounds like he's trying to get votes.
Maybe. Yeah, the women's votes. Yeah, that's all this is about. It's all about consent by voting and participation otherwise in the socialist system, which it is socialist. The citizenship itself is socialist. That's all you need. But yeah, someone said, not someone, when I was doing some research, I was writing my paper on Jefferson Davis. And he let me pull this up to make sure I get all the facts straight, because it's been about 8 years since I wrote that. Why don't you talk for a minute while I'm pulling that up? Say something ingenious.
Well, you were talking about the schools and viruses and certain
Right.
things. I had started reading today because my son started back to school in his socialist communist agenda. Indoctrination, I should say. But I'm hearing that they're going to make it a mandatory test for children in the schools, through the schools, by sending them there. If you want to send them to that school or any school, you're going to have to show that he's been tested or she has been tested. Therefore, I don't know how much the outreach of the school will have with the health department, meaning if it's that contagious, they're going to separate the family. They're going to come in and start separating families. I mean,
no, that's Marx. That's what I'm saying. This whole virus thing is to break up families. That's a big part of Marxism, destroying the family unit.
Yeah.
And the virus is again just a tool to implement more Marxist, provisions out of the communism plan.
And it goes right along with the Trace Act, with the contact tracers that the Congress has put into place, that they have people out there ready to work for the government to see if people are maintaining the required guidelines that the socialist communist government, the institution, is trying to push on the unsuspecting public. So that goes along with the Sentinel program, where they'll be working hand in hand with the authorities that are above them, above the contact tracers. And it's all the Trace Act, which is a 666 Act as well. So that was, I think, put into place in May, if I'm not mistaken. It was passed.
Yeah, we got to get People's Awareness Coalition, the alliance at least, going. I want to get the PAC broadcast team going by this fall if we can. It's almost fall now.
It is.
It'll probably be spring. There's a lot to do with this other project I have got going. You know about it. We're not going to talk about it though.
Right.
It's going to be groundbreaking for the movement if these people, stop acting stupid.
Yeah, they can't
something.
sleep on it either.
Yeah, they can't sleep like they have been.
Right.
But yeah, we got to get people activated, and this new project's gonna help with that. It's really tools to get things done. That's what I want to see. But back to the schooling. that's part of this PAC broadcast team. It's going to be all re-engineering people's minds to, or teaching them what needs to be done to start a community, like the Amish run. Because I think Bruce McDonald on the station here talks about these things too, and he's surely right about that.
Oh.
We have to start building communities and taking our children out of the schools.
We had previously talked about this before we got on the show, that I had just read that they're saying that there's 20 million people now in America homeschooling their children. They said it doubled overnight because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Wow.
So,
like you said, that brings a lot of people to what we're doing.
Well, it should. That's a big community in of itself. I mean, all the people that are homeschooling their children, that is a community, whether you want to look at it that way or not.
Yeah.
Because you're going against the status quo of the public society that's been predicated since your birth.
Yes.
So once you start homeschooling your children, you're going to start seeing that the curriculum wasn't so much teaching history as it was teaching control.
Yes.
And that control, you see how people are so easily controlled. Everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody stayed home. Everybody did this under the virus or did that, and we're okay with it. And we just keep doing what we keep doing. And I don't understand it, but there's 20 million of you that do. And you guys are homeschooling your kids. Why? Well, to tell the government to basically put it where. Well, you got to be aware of the laws that give you the power to do so. And you got to hold these people. You got to know your enemy and the policy that they work under.
Yes.
There's no other way you're going to get through this murky water, the swamp that's out there.
No, people, like I said, I've been doing this 20 years, and people just keep hanging on, thinking things are going to get better. And no, it's not going to get better. These guys are, no one's pushing back. Yeah, they talk about it on talk radio and whatever, but no one's got any plans. I've had a plan for 20 years, and it's devastating.
But you have
no one's interested because they like I said, they love their Marxism.
The Red Amendment should be part of every homeschool's education.
Yeah. I've had several mothers use it for their curriculum, for their homeschooling.
I mean, right there. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, yeah, it's plank 10 of the Communist Manifesto. Free education. That's public education, basically. Matter of fact, there was a case in Ohio that I remember someone dug up that said public school taxes for public school is unconstitutional.
Right, you told me this.
Yeah, I wish I had the case, but I'm sure we could find it.
Yeah.
And, again, we should have people working, and I don't want to complain about that, as long as I'm at it too. There's no one doing this anymore. In the 90s, were all kinds of law clubs. Now everyone's hoping Trump's going to save the day. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm done with that for now.
I mean, anybody want to raise their hand in the chat room that would be interested in the law group? I mean, I would like to see if anybody would raise their hand for that.
I mean, that's what they don't want us to know.
Right.
That's how they control everyone. That's why people don't know how communism works, because they don't know law. Marx went to law school to learn how to manipulate his Communist Manifesto to get the useful idiots to push it.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah, nothing's free. It says free education, but they say it's unconstitutional to pay for schooling out of the property tax. That's the difference of the bridge between Republican freedom and the democracy, as they call it.
I hate to bring this up again, and I know you don't like this person or anything about it, and you just don't want to touch on the subject, but I have to bring this quote up again, which is the quote by Adolf Hitler, who was a socialist. let me control the textbooks, and I will control the state. I mean, wow.
Yeah, see, that gets back to what Marx said. As soon as the whole world accepts socialism, there'll be peace, and that there'll be no peace until that happens. So basically, Hitler was just another communist.
Yeah, right. I get that. But
It,
let's
it,
always say that there was two things made in the wake of that, which was Synagogue of Satan, Israel, and the UN. So
yeah,
those two things were made in the wake, in which I think the UN is the biggest corporation that's controlling all the countries of the world right now.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. I also believe it's a Jesuit manifestation of what they wanted through the Jesuits.
I haven't seen that. I haven't looked deep enough into that. I'm worried about getting Americans to understand they're communist.
Well,
Maybe we get. Well, Trump came out and said, I think is it the governor of somewhere was a communist. It's the pot calling the kettle black. But anyway, it's interesting that these things are coming up. But this project that have coming up will straighten all this out for people that want to listen.
I mean,
want to learn.
The other thing I just want to say is, you kind of touched on it briefly, is you got to know your enemy. And the way that the enemy works on people's psyche is the best way to keep something hidden is in plain sight.
Right. I said that on my book site.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you look at the symbolism that's laid out, why would you want to be part of it? Anybody who wants to call themselves a Christian out there, why would you keep paying into this Luciferian facade that is nothing Christian about it? And it's all pertained in the symbolism that's riddled through our society. So then you add in the law that has been destroyed by the 14th Amendment, and I call it Lucifer's living document or Satan's living document, because everywhere I look, I see the 14th Amendment. It's in your school. It's in your commercialism. It's in your communism. It's in your economy. It's everywhere. That 14th Amendment has destroyed society as we know it from a de jure standpoint, where it's made everything that we look at in society unnatural.
Yes.
And I believe it really has to go back to natural. I mean, you bring up what's up?
That's what the problem is with most people is they try to say, what kind of government is this? Fascist, communist, socialist? It's a mixed bag. It's everything. It's got a little bit of everything in it, except people aren't practicing, the Republican foundation. They're all practicing socialism.
See, what I always say when people ask me that question, what kind of government is it? I always just specifically state private. It is a private government where the people have access to it.
That's true.
So
private civil law runs everything.
Right, and the people have this facade that they think voting actually changed something. Well, guess what? Vote harder next time if you don't like what you see. It really works, doesn't it? See,
the closest thing that I know of to a free people, and they don't have it together, is the Amish. They're the only ones that are living free.
Right. Yeah, they're close. They really are.
Yeah, they're mixed up in the system because they don't know the law. They have the foundation of the religion they practice has got them living properly, but they're still not under Republican freedom.
They got 1 foot in and 1 foot out too, LB.
Kinda, yeah. Kinda, you can say it that way.
Yep, they do.
And you did. Anyway, let me get back to this Jefferson Davis thing. It was Jefferson Davis, and it's in a paper I wrote called "You Have Been Warned," and I'll post it in the chat room. It's under packinlaw.us, warned, WARNED. just like it sounds. Sorry, I'm doing two things. I can't multitask as well as I used to. But the paper's about the upcoming coming constitution change. And this was about the Jefferson Davis case for the most part. And he was charged, or they tried to charge him with rebelling or treason against the United States during the so-called Civil War. And they dropped it because he wasn't. The United States is not a nation. And he because the governors of his state or country, which I don't know which one he was from, I forget here. Maybe I can find it, but he was in one of the southern states. So his governors okayed the war, and according to the Constitution, they can do that. So they have the right to secede, get out of the Union. So there was nothing wrong with what the southern states did. So they couldn't get him for treason against the United States. Anyway, back to, you said or we were talking about Susan B. Anthony being pardoned. Well, Jimmy Carter, I was right, it was Carter. And I'm just going to read the short section that I got in my paper here. And I call the section, "The Joke Spanning Over 3 Centuries." And this whole system is a joke, really it is, once you know the law behind it. 14th Amendment's a total tragedy and a joke, which this case circles or deals with. After the Civil War, it is said that Jefferson Davis spent the rest of his life saying that he was a man without a country. In 1978, President Carter gave him back his citizenship. The question is, what citizenship was it? Fact is, the true citizenship of his country or state was destroyed by the 14th Amendment. Of course, it was the hideous citizenship of the noted amendment Carter had granted. See, they're rubbing this 14th Amendment crap in our nose, like Carter did and like Trump did with Susan B. Anthony. Socialism, basically. Okay. Overall, the act of Carter was a farce. Not only had Jefferson Davis long passed on, but also the actions of the United States in regard to the so-called Civil War were unlawful and had held no constitutional authority. Not only that fact, the act noted by Carter and Congress misrepresented what Section 3 of the 14th Amendment even says and means. This is just another action that is part and parcel of what a total joke this Reconstruction system has been the last 150 years. Nonetheless, they have gotten away with it, which is so sad, because people do not know the law. They surely don't know the Constitution. All they know is how to say is, "I have constitutional rights." Any parrot can be taught that, right?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, like I said, I'll post this paper in the chat room. But yeah, so yeah, they're pushing the voting thing, and that's how this so-called democracy works.
Well, I also
You have to
think
agree to it.
I can't
that
help
way.
but think of the small businesses right now being persecuted against through the 14th.
Well, yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And why I say
I'm
that,
babbling.
if people would realize that their license is the only way that gives the state the power to go ahead and persecute them based upon health code violations and so on and so forth. Businesses could tell the government basically, no, I'm staying open past whatever time. I'm not under your licensing law, but people don't understand what free enterprise is anymore.
No.
And free enterprise goes hand in hand with common law.
Yes, it's a natural right.
Right. With common law, natural right. Yes. Yes. Sorry, I did not mean to.
No, it's okay. I trip over my tongue and mouth all the time.
But that natural right and common law right to free enterprise means you're not under the jurisdiction of the state in most instances, as the state being de facto. You're only under the state control under the de jure body that would be under the Republican sense of freedom. So
Yes.
therefore, you would have to do things right. Like if you were, if you had a restaurant, you're going to do things based upon the contingency of common law. And if you don't, most people aren't going to come to your restaurant anyways.
That's right.
So this system that was in place just gives the government authority to have jurisdiction over you in places that they should have no jurisdiction. But we just keep going along with this as the status quo and nobody questions it. And now we have this virus where they're totally persecuting the restaurants through the health department or bars or nightclubs or whatever else public institution there is that the health department has control over. So you're going to see a lot of closures coming up in the near future, and this is all related to the 14th Amendment and the jurisdiction that the de facto government has through it.
Yes. Oh, and the people's ability to be dumb sheep.
Well,
it's that public school education that Marx gave everyone for free.
Give me control of the textbooks, and I will control the state.
Give me free stuff, and I'll remain ignorant. Yeah, we got a couple people in the chat room. I think Susie. Hi, Susie. How are you? I got your letter. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah. Anyway, she wants to start a law group. She's interested.
See?
I think people would be interested. We just got to get it done. It's hard to do without the, that's one thing that's a problem. I've lost all my personal or private platforms I had. Mm-hmm. And that's all people do now is use these Marxist platforms. And they can take them away from you. That's communism. Anyway, got a break. We'll be back. And we'll talk about more Marxism here. Stay tuned.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
Your body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. The heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting the danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
Find some comfort at Willow's World. A variety of news, commentary and poetry at Willow's Poetry Corner, where there are comfy cushions and a tempting selection of delectable comestibles. A show that's quirkily and quintessentially British, with a unique twist featuring Willow Andreasen, your host.
Join Willow Mondays and Thursdays 2 till 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Studio A.
All right. Thanks for listening while we take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Well, we're back. This is The Ultimate Remedy for August 18th. Glad you could join us. This is freedomslips.com or Revolution Radio. That's at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. It is listener supported. We don't have the commercial thing going on here. So, yeah, we could use your help. Go to the websites I just mentioned, or the web addresses, rather. It is one site. And hit the donations button at the top of the page. Also visit the store. Lots of fun stuff in there. T-shirts and whatnot. And you can also donate through Patreon. That's an orange button you can find on the page. Also, the old-fashioned snail mail, which I love dearly. It's private, but I guess the post office is having real problems now. I was just telling my friend today that, yeah, the post office in the little town I live in, there's hardly anyone in there anymore. It's just died because of the electronic systems, and that's the cashless society people were worried about back in the 90s, but all people care about now is what Trump had for dinner. That's kind of a joke, but not really. Anyway, yeah, snail mail donations can go to Terry at the state of Michigan. I think she lives in the state of Michigan. Yeah. She doesn't live in the country. You live in the country of Ohio, right, Nathan?
Yes, that's correct. Or nation of Ohio.
Yeah, I'm an Illinoisan, but I'm living in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm not a resident.
I should hope not.
No. Well, the original terminology used to be inhabitant. They changed it to resident, which means what I believe it's the identity of the thing. Everyone is a slave. They're considered chattel based on the debt of the United States. So, yeah, they changed the definitions back at the Civil War period from inhabitant to resident.
I just read that somewhere else.
Took it slow. Oh, you did?
Yes,
Where
I
was
did.
that?
I can't remember.
Well, it's in the Constitution. They did use it once in regard to the president.
It definitely wasn't there.
And you and I believe, talked about it, or someone did. I don't know if it was you.
Well, no, we've talked about it, definitely.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and kind of references that the president is owned.
Correct.
That's
yes.
what you brought up, and I go, I can see that.
Right.
Yeah, as you know, the presidents are selected, not elected. I think FDR said that.
Well,
he was president for too long.
Like I keep saying, the presidency is nothing more than the CEO of the corporation, the United States, which he's the one that keeps the people, his human resources, in check, in line.
Right.
He's the rah-rah guy. And the thing is, now, this is where you have to connect the dots. So follow with me, is that the IRS and the Secret Service are both factions of the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank, which is owned by the IMF. So the IMF is protecting their investment, which is the president of the United States. So they can keep pushing their perpetual debt system on the unsuspecting U.S. human resource.
Public de facto.
Right.
De facto means of fact, and de jure means of right.
I've also read.
It's a fact we got a de facto government.
I also read de jure meant of the day.
No, that's soup.
Yeah.
You being funny? Are you being funny on me?
No, it said law of the day. That each day a new law would arise for certain specifics of something within common law. Because not everything.
I'd have to see that. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, I saw that a long time ago when I first started in with this.
Okay, I'll trust you.
But yeah, it's interesting.
No, the French spelling of de jure is a little different, but it still means of the day.
Well, see, I thought it was Latin.
It could be. I don't know all the Latin. Know a little bit of it.
That's another thing.
It's not as easy as Spanish, though. I often said that they punished the Spanish people because it's like English, but they put a few more letters in there to make them have to spell it out more.
Right.
I'm being funny.
Well, you know what?
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm being boring.
What I find funny is I wasn't able to. Latin wasn't offered to me in high school.
Well, it's a dead language, you know.
Supposedly. But why is it that all our doctors know it? All their...
It's part of the secret society system.
Right, but they taught it for like 100 years prior to it.
They did. If people didn't know, even the movies, they had the date the movie was made or published, if you will. They had it in Roman numerals up until like the late 70s. Then they started just writing the number in. So that's the dumbing down of the American public. And because the whole law system that we're under, it roots back to the Latin and the Roman Empire. Oh, by the way, folks, this silly idea called straw man out there. All these entities are written in capital letters. It's just kind of like a reference to civil law because the Roman civil law or the Roman system didn't have upper and lowercase letters. They're all caps. So it's just a way of them saying you're under the civil law. There's no straw man. You're the straw man by contract. The old social contract. Socialized contract. Anyway, Marx, schooling, real fun. Did you fall off your horse? Someone's talking about high horses here in the chat room.
What do you mean?
By the way, hi folks in the chat room. Didn't say hi. Pat Rabbit's there, I guess. I saw Roe too. Hi, Mr. Roe. Hope your excursion to Africa is doing well.
Who's high?
I don't know. Someone's comments talking about. Anyone know where I can buy me a high horse? He's probably making fun of me.
Well, tell them the Trojans.
Yeah, Trojan horse.
Get them a Trojan horse.
Well, that's what the communist system is, a Trojan horse.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Came in under the 14th Amendment.
Oh, that's good.
How come it took someone 135 years to write a book about it?
People like bright and shiny things.
I guess. I don't know. It's like, really? No one's looked at things outside the box? You've been told this, right? I think you told me the other day that we'll mention something about the 14th Amendment and they'll say, oh, you're not a lawyer.
Right. Someone last night, I was talking about the 14th Amendment round of fire, and the gentleman told me that
it's Gentile, man.
It was made for black people. I got to hear that argument again. I was like,
okay, I haven't heard that one in a while. Of course, I I haven't mixed with the dum-dums on the internet lately.
This was straight to my face, LB.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing in or out.
But I don't go out much either. It's scary out there.
Well,
I'm glad you do, though. It's good to mingle with the folks, right? So that's what he said to you, huh?
yeah, that's exactly what he said. Oh, shut up about the 14th Amendment. It's already been proven it was for the black people. It gave them freedom where we already had it. I was like, whoa. Okay.
As long as you brought that up, I incorporated that into some of the work I'm doing because I just revisited it recently.
Watch them.
I'm just going to read it all the definitions, and this brings up the point that I thought about, and it's been discussed with Mike Gaddy and the group and myself in the past or recent past. All the black people, and this is where we're going to prove this numbskull that you're talking about wrong, right? I got a couple references I can make reference to, but I think people with intelligence can see what I'm saying here. All black people weren't slaves in the, during the Civil War period, 1860 to 68, 70, somewhere in there, right?
Right.
When all this crap went down. Well, if it was for the black people or the slaves or ex-slaves to give them citizenship, what were the other people doing that were black? Did they get emancipated and somehow grow citizenship or something? Or did they have natural rights to do things before that?
Great question.
If you go into some of the history, which they don't talk about, like your buddy knows, he knows exactly what happened during the Civil War. He was there, evidently. There were actually black people that owned businesses in the South.
Right.
They weren't slaves, but they owned businesses. So, did they need their rights given to them? No. What I'm getting at here is, like Lysander Spooner laid out, they were creating a government of consent. He never really went into it. I don't think he needed to 150 years ago, because it was elementary back then. You got to live on the land and contract with people under Republican freedom. Didn't matter if you're black, white, or purple. See where I'm going with this?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to read this short section I put together here. It's under a definition I called, I'm going to read the whole damn thing. Why not? It's very short. It's all that project I'm working on. It's out of a lexicon I put together. And so just under U.S. Constitution. Here I go. The Constitution for the United States of America became bifurcated with the installation of the 14th Amendment. See Reconstruction. Well, they reconstruct, right? Due to Reconstruction, most every American is totally unaware there's a dual system of law that is silently working. That's my mouth not working again. It created a system that preserved the original system of law, but because of this change, a new political relationship was formed. We call it the Communist Association. And its private membership does have its liabilities. See the Red Amendment. Below is what the Negro people got for being part of the Communist Association under the 14th Amendment. Note and provisions. Being able to use the courts gives them a lot of great benefits. That's pursuant to the Dred Scott case. Statement of Equal Rights. all persons within the jurisdiction of the United States shall have, notice it says all persons, it didn't say black people. It says that all persons. Within the jurisdiction of the United States shall have the same right in every state or and territory to make and enforce contracts. Oh, they didn't before. To sue parties, give evidence, and to the full and equal benefit of all laws and proceedings for the security of persons and property as enjoyed by white citizens, and shall be subject, here's the fun part, and shall be subject to like punishments, pains, penalties, taxes, licenses, and exactions of every kind, and to no other. That's in civil rights under Title 42. It came about during the Civil War. It's part of the Reconstruction Acts. And it's section 1981. Not close to 1984, but not quite. It says, and to no other, quote unquote. Sounds a bit like a new master under ownership of the United States. And such a deal, punishments, pains, penalties, taxes, licenses, and exactions. Right. Give me some of that citizenship, liberty, and those remarkable civil rights. Who needs Republican freedom? Read Dual System of Law to better understand. And that's at packenlaw.us/dual. So what they did is, you know, basically these white citizens your buddy were talking about, they had all these neat benefits before the black people. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he's kind of right, you know, but these guys were free before the United States gave them all these benefits. Well, it's basically just using the courts. My parents have never been in court. Anyway. Huh?
What are you getting at with that statement?
You can live your life without going to court. The thing with them though, they did what the good doobie Reds do. You know, they paid their taxes and everything.
With what you just stated, I want to elaborate into Section 4 of the 14th Amendment a little bit.
Go ahead.
I'm going to read. I'll read Section 4 of the 14th Amendment. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Well, the main thing I want to just point out to people is the 13th Amendment made involuntary servitude or slavery unlawful or illegal, whichever way you want to put it, except for crime or punishment. Crime or punishment.
Yep.
So, if it made it illegal in 1866 and the 14th Amendment was created in 1868, dispensational in the terms of law, meaning the 13th Amendment came before the 14th, the 14th Amendment, Section 4, is showing that there's a new type of slave in effect right now.
Yeah, exactly. The other ones were emancipated. You got Einstein's like Thomas Woods that says, well, they don't use these sections of the 14th Amendment anymore. Oh, really? Why would they put them in there? It's perpetual. It doesn't have a sunset. It operates. And no, the 14th Amendment wasn't lawfully ratified. That's why they have the government of consent. And there's three ways you consent: voting, taking benefits, and not doing a damn thing and sitting there on the land that the current government operates. You're subject to its jurisdiction because you haven't done the things to fix that. So it's done, yeah, it's a legal fiction, it's presumption, but that's how this whole system works. I had this worked out, and these idiots that think they know more than I do destroyed that, and they started bringing up old propaganda that was put out in the 1950s, arguing the fact.
Well, all they wanted was wins and losses, LB. They had no.
No, I've got a paper on that. Wins.
Yeah.
How many wins do you have? How about being left alone for 25 years and not filling out one damn government form?
See, I was telling
How's
someone.
that? Is that a win? No, I'm talking about going to court because I'm a U.S. citizen and part of their pains and penalties and all that stuff. They just don't get it. They don't listen either. But like I said, they love their Marxism. Get all that free stuff like free school, being told what to think.
Yeah. All kinds of free money out there for everybody that wants to join.
Trump bucks.
Yeah. Trump bucks.
No, they'll be paying for that for a long time because they love the fraud. Like I said in my book, as long as Americans are enjoying communism, they'll be in perpetual bondage. You just read the remedy right there.
Yep.
Anyway.
But
so
I guess,
go ahead.
Just the fact of the slave clause there in the fourth section.
They're talking about people that are under the 14th Amendment. Because it is a crime to vote. They set that up under operational law, Section 2. Like I say, I don't have to be involved in criminal activity, nor do I have to be associated with criminals. Addressing Section 2 and Section 1 respectively. I'm not in the Communist Association. Haven't been for over 20 years. So, how'd your week go, Nathan? Did I lose you? I think I did. Anyway, Nathan dropped off for some reason. I'm sure he'll be back. This is The Ultimate Remedy. My name's L.B. Bork. We've been talking about Marxism and how it's been installed into the 14th Amendment. And yes, Americans have been communists for 150 years. Constitution was put in place, or if you want to look at 1776, they weren't free for, let's see, I do some math. Yeah, not even 100 years before they were enslaved under the 14th Amendment. So, yeah, it's pretty sad what happened. If you want to learn and are very interested in throwing off the chains, you can get my book, The Red Amendment, and that is at redamendment.net. Sorry, I'm trying to do technical stuff here. Yeah, redamendment.net is where you can get that to learn about this stuff, or just type in pacinlaw.us, pacinlew.us into the search engine, and you'll get loads of papers I've written on different subjects. You back?
Yes, I am.
Okay. No big deal. We got you back.
Yeah, right on.
I like Skype. It's pretty good. It's too bad that monkey Gates owns it now, though.
Yeah, him.
That guy. Yeah, him. I was just telling the folks about where to get my book. It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah. Yeah, you can write your own someday, maybe. Like I told people, I'm against technology for the most part, but I tell you, it helped me write that book. I don't know if I would have done it otherwise. Not like, Mr. Typewriter.
I'm just going to carry that. I'm not going to write a book, LB. I'm just going to carry that book as my shield.
That's the foundation. There's a lot to learn out of it.
I
told people, I did leave one of the most important parts out of it. It's the nexus of the 14th Amendment system, basically, and it has to do with the agencies, and that's what one of my mentors, Carl Granzi, taught us how to deal with agency law. And
I'm finding that out right now.
Yeah, the agency is basically the foundation for the 14th Amendment system. That those things didn't exist before the 14th Amendment. It's part and parcel of American communism, or the political system, law system, whatever you want to call it.
The only way you figure
it's all tied together.
The only way you figure that out is if you know your enemy.
Yep.
Knowing your enemy shows their policy that they have to work under and they have to follow.
Yep. They've been saying quite a bit. I heard Lindsey Graham say it the other day that rule of law, I've heard that a lot lately. It's kind of like they're saying, yeah, do it right and we'll follow it,
Yeah, and, I see that too, but I also see them doing it where they're creating a smokescreen of, oh yeah, we're doing the rule of law, and then they go ahead and do something completely not part of the rule of law.
Well, maybe the 14th Amendment citizens, they have free reign with, basically. It's kind of that's how these guys work under the 14th Amendment. It's like a game. Yeah. Anyway, we got a break. This is The Ultimate Remedy, and this is Revolution Radio. We got some station announcements. We'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes. Stay tuned, and we'll talk about more Karl Marx and his wonderful system.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays, midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
This is the people's war. It is our war. We are the fighters. Fight it then. Fight it with all that is in us. And may God defend the right.
Warning! Warning!
We gotta stop them! They're gonna kill us all! See how the trouble you've started? Be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or human beings. Time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it. Right! You tell them I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Revolution Radio! Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
Well, we're back. This is The Ultimate Remedy. My name is LB Bork, host of this presentation. I like to call it that. I don't like to call it a show. Try to be a little entertaining, but I'm not a dancing monkey. I'm here to educate people. And, if you're here to get educated, great. If you're here to be entertained, go on YouTube and watch Crowder or something like that. He'll get you a mug and make you laugh. Today he was walking around Austin with Alex Jones. I call him Puffy Jones now. He's kind of big, but... Anyway, yeah, I'm putting this lexicon together to kind of oust the bad people out there. Operatives, I call them, or maintainers. And I swear, a lot of the stuff he was saying, yeah, Alex is an operative. Kind of amazing. Anyway, this is hour 2 of today's presentation. We're talking about Marxist schooling, and talking about Marxist schooling. Were you aware he went to law school, Nathan?
I wasn't until you told me.
Well, recently or just now?
No, you told me within the past couple months.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. See, when he put this political economic system together, he did it pretty craftily. He had to, what it was doing is organizing the profits that were going to be made under the Industrial Revolution. So he had to come up with a scheme for a world plan to deal with the profits and how the elite could, make all the money, and how to get workers to work for the system. So, he talked about how bad capitalism was, but said what it was going to do in this and that. But then what he did is get a bunch of useful idiots to fight against each other and basically install communism into every country of the world, which, what's been going on for the last 150 years has been under that system. It's all different. He said that right before he noted the 10 planks he put in. He said it's going to be maybe different in different countries, but these will pretty much be applied. And like I've been saying for years, all 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto, with the exception of the school mandating, or the Department of Education, came kind of late in the 60s, 70s. But a place like Wisconsin, where I'm living right now, which interestingly enough, the state of Wisconsin was granted statehood the same year the Communist Manifesto was released. And they had mandated school, or mandatory school, in the Constitution of the Wisconsin. So they were already implementing these things there, but it took them, because each state in the Union is a country, and he said this is going to be applied in every country of the world. So each state is doing its own thing, but part of socialism is unifying. So the union, has got its own socialism going, but it's not shared with the states because, like Henry Kissinger said back in the 70s, the illegal we do immediately, the unconstitutional takes a bit of time, or something like that. So yeah, they killed a bunch of people for the Civil War to get the foundational document put in, or amendment, I should say. It's in the foundational documents. So Constitution is considered a public law, but really the 14th Amendment is totally private law. The Constitution's private law because it's basically a treaty that covers the states, and treaties are private international law. So the Constitution itself is based on private international law, but they call it public law.
But I was just get ready to. Sorry.
Complex system. No, that's okay. Go ahead.
The way that I kind of looked at it too was they left a little bit of public law there under the original organic Constitution, whereas when
there's a lot of public law there.
Right. So what I'm just.
But my point is the principle of it. It's private international law.
Okay, gotcha.
It turns into public law because it applies to all the states or whatever, or people. And there's very little in the Constitution that applies to individuals. There's some of it, but not a lot of it. You have to go through all of it. I think it was Ron Paul back in the 90s. He tried to. I don't know if he doesn't know how this works or what. He tried to get something put into legislation that said that anytime they did an act of Congress, they had to point to where in the Constitution they get the authority. And I go, well, they'd have to put the 14th Amendment for everything, for the most part,
Right.
Because every piece of legislation is pretty much based on the 14th Amendment. And that just gave them free rein to do a lot of stuff that applies to the Communist Association.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that wouldn't go very far. It'd spill the beans too easily. Like I said, I don't know if Ron Paul knows how the duplicity of the thing works anyway.
But getting your book served to Congress exposes it right now.
Well, I want to do that, yeah.
I'm just saying, if everything goes...
Talking about a lot of money.
But if everything goes as planned in the near future, I think it's all going to be within our means.
Yeah, I hope so.
We just got to get people to get off their ass.
Yeah, if people want to be free, they're going to have to start doing stuff. What do you think this silent majority came from?
Silent majority? It doesn't even sound real, LB.
Well, they've come up with a lot of terms like left-right,
Yeah, but the silent majority just sounds like they're just feeding us a line of crap. I mean, what does the silent majority get anyone? Nothing.
It's one of those terms that people like conservative. I'm a conservative. Oh, what are you conserving? What's that mean?
I think it's worse.
I'm a liberal. These are terms that they've come up with to tell people what to do or how to think.
Okay.
So a silent majority is basically referencing the Communist Manifesto in sense, because they can do whatever they want, include killing people through war, because that's the last directive, basically, and everything is in that last directive. They can do anything they need to do to install communist or Marxism in any country they want. So the silent majority is you don't have permission to do that while we do all these things that are unlawful. Look at what they're getting away with these so-called peaceful protests. No. They're burning buildings down and stuff. And they're let off. Under the Constitution, the governor can say, United States, come in here and put an end to this. Of course, you've heard that in the news, or people have.
Let me
You know,
ask
the Democratic governors don't say, "Oh, no, this is a summer of love." You know, just let them burn buildings down and do whatever. What kind of horse shit is that? Really? Yeah, but what this is doing is reinforcing the communist system or the socialist-based authoritarian system, because people are begging for, oh no, don't let these people do it. We're scared to death of these people now. We're wussy socialists. Come in and stop this, Mr. Federal Government. I'll be right there. But no, your Democratic the Democratic governor in your state won't let us.
Let me ask you.
They're bad. Anyway, it's funny.
And I don't know if you looked at it this avenue at all either. Let's just take it down a notch of simplicity. Where the silent majority, could they be referencing the fact that last election there was only 52%, or there was only 48% of voters that actually went and turned out to vote? Therefore, the silent majority was the 52% that didn't vote. So we're basically saying, screw you. We have mob rule even in the 48%.
Oh yeah, but no one's questioning it.
Well,
and Mike Gaddy's talked about that, about the democracy side of the system. That's why back to what Lysander Spooner said, the government of consent. It really doesn't have any teeth unless over half the people are voting. But it doesn't matter under Republican freedom, because what the United States does doesn't affect anyone. It's all built on socialism, socialist factors.
Under Section 2 as well.
Yep, and I'm going to teach from now on. I just decided this, that the term citizen, even under the original system, is socialism. That's where they get their socialist authority from, its citizenship.
Why else would they create the term sovereign citizen?
Well, that's nonsense that came up.
Well,
I believe from the movement. It could have been installed by the shadow government,
which I believe.
But yeah, there's some dumb patriot types out there. I wrote a paper on that 20 years ago, debunking sovereign citizen, and it's I'll put that in chat too if anyone wants to read it. That position, and
you're still a socialist.
It's tied to the private law system of civil law,
right?
And that's where the government's always gotten its authority from, and it goes back to Vattel, because when he set up the Law of Nations, as he did, you know, that's one thing that stood out like a sore thumb. As he said, people of the states, or the nation rather, are citizens. And if you do your research, you know that the governments of the states are municipal corporations. And citizen and municipal corporation go hand in hand. Therefore, you're subject to the private laws of the municipal corporation. So all these idiots out there that are pushing state citizenship, and I've said this for years, are saying, yeah, I like my state citizenship. Make some private laws that apply to me, please, legislature. Do you see that? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, maybe being in the county, you can be a citizen of the county or the town, and those laws would apply to you. But yeah, the state citizenship, now you're saying, yes, give me some citizenship. Does it come with Vaseline?
Nope, we traded the Vaseline.
Anyway, yeah, these are things that, you know, the people in the movement have been brainwashed to accept. And it goes back to basically Reformation under, you know, the church. Excuse me. Calvin, John Calvin, his Bible set all this up.
John Calvin.
John Calvin, yeah.
His
Calvin.
Bible is that prominent?
Yeah, but, well, the principles of the Vatican. They had jurisdiction over anyone under civil law where the church was.
What year?
What year was that?
Yeah.
1540s, 30s. I forget the exact year. Same time the Jesuits came into the church.
1536.
Yep, somewhere in there.
Huh.
So yeah, the Jesuit order, of course, was in place the same year the Constitution was installed.
So why would
at Georgetown University?
Why would Walter Veith use a Geneva Bible, which is the Jesuit Bible?
Good question. Good. We have to ask him.
I would love to know.
I like his work, but I don't know. Maybe he's one of them. I don't know.
Well, he says if you want, he uses the same language as you. He's like, if you want to know your enemy, you got to know.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. Maybe he's, he just needs to know the adversary. I call him the adversary. It's a little more tame word.
An enemy?
Yeah.
I like enemy. Well, you know me though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now be nice. No.
I am. I'm nice. I'm tame.
Don't be too tame, man. We got enough of those out there.
Yeah.
What do I call them? Moron, pussified moron or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible.
So anyway, let's go a little more into this school thing with this virus. Do you have any more nice stories that people need to hear about what's going on with that?
Well, I mean, if we believe the news, I mean, you look around and see what's going on, which University of North Carolina opened up classes and now they're talking about a week later shutting it down. So, right.
Really?
Yeah, right now.
For what reason?
Because they have 500 new cases of coronavirus, which I believe, and I'm going to sit there and say it time and time again, everybody's got the coronavirus. That's why they picked this virus to begin with. Everybody's got it.
Right. It's kind of dormant, right?
Right.
Yeah, I heard one of the doctors I listened to. By the way, I was kicked off YouTube again. I didn't do anything. I think I posted a couple political-based comments. I didn't even, talk about those J people. And all of a sudden this weekend, I find my subscriptions aren't coming in for my email subscriptions, and I'm not getting warned. I'm not getting any emails. I'm saying, what the heck's going on here? So I did a test or two and had someone email me, and it worked. But they took me off from commenting, which I figured I was shadow banned because if the person that owned the YouTube channel had so many subscribers, no one could see my post anyway.
Right.
So they shadow banned me that way. But now, even if someone has a low amount of subscribers, I can't post. I just can't.
Well, just
can't post on there.
And I don't know.
Go ahead back to what we were talking about.
Well, I was just going to add on the YouTube thing where if you are unhappy with YouTube, there's now a competing site that is allowing like Brother Nathaniel and other.
Yeah, I know. BitChute.
What's that?
It's BitChute, but the problem with that, just like when we had a forum going for People's Awareness Coalition, Facebook came out and geez, everyone goes over there, like the bright shiny thing you were talking about last hour.
Well,
so it's hard to get anyone to go to these things because they insist on being with the sheep crowd.
Well, that's why we have to create the PAC army to combat that.
Yeah.
And that comes down to people and resources, as you always say. You're not an army without the resources.
Not to be accused with human resources.
Right. Notice I separated resources and people from each other.
Yeah, I did. I'm just being funny.
Me too. Yeah, the Pac Army has to be set up so we can move this thing forward. Without it, it's just not going to happen. And I've now been with this movement with Pac for 6 years.
You saw what happened to me on Facebook.
Oh, I know. I was there for it, and then I actually kind of tuned you out, did the communist thing for a while, then read the Obamacare Act, and I was like, whoa, no more. Can't do this. And that was...
You tuned me out, huh?
Oh, I did. I tuned everybody out because I had my child, and then when I had my child, I realized how much more communist indoctrination and the slavery they wanted to put on them upon birth. And it's like, I can't do it. And right now I'm trying to do things the spiritually right way. Hopefully it pays dividends in the future. So, but
what was the thing that you made you tune me out for the most part? You just didn't want to hear the truth? Is that maybe it?
No, this was actually the woman at the time.
Oh, yeah, well, they're the problem. That's why they wanted them in the political system, because they're natural socialists. They want protection. They want to be babied, and that's what socialism's all about.
Right.
Protection.
So, yeah, I went with the woman, and we actually made a birth plan, and we're trying to do things under a at-home birth and all this other stuff. And once again, the system screwed things up, and nothing worked out in the way it should have. She ran back to Marxism as fast as she possibly could and never wanted to stand upon another right that she possibly could have had. And after that happened, it put a fence between us. And
Is it a Trump fence?
Yeah. Might as well be.
Kidding.
It's as ridiculous as one.
Well, they call it wall usually. They say they put a wall between us.
Right. But I see what
Trump's got a wall, you see. It's going well, I hear.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I guess just giving a backstory on how I came back to PAC is all I'm doing. And once I realized that I never have control over my child is when I really wanted to really partake in common law and understand more. And PAC is the only one that gives the truth within law. Everybody else gives a lot of rhetoric that sounds like law, but they really don't know how to apply it.
That's right. I was thinking about that today, about this lexicon I'm putting together. It's simply stated, and either take it for what it's worth or think it's opinion or whatever. But people in politics, they just like to talk a lot and say nothing. I mean, my point is, it's all a smoke screen. Like I said, law's not even that difficult.
But LBS,
they made it difficult so people are confused about it and don't want to look at it.
Why is Linda McMahon on Trump's cabinet then? She has access to the greatest writers in the history of television. The WWE. Her husband runs the WWE, and she's on Trump's cabinet as public relations manager. Come on, LB. They are set.
I didn't do anything.
No, not you, but I'm just saying.
I'm kidding.
How do people not put two and two together to realize, wow, politics are just like wrestling? And they are. All she is just writing the next day's politics. Something to fight over. Something to create argument. Something to create ratings. Something to create TV. All the while, you have no transparency government, which is totalitarian, running the whole world into the ground behind the scenes. And that's really what we're up against. How to keep people occupied.
That's it, and that's my point about all this blather that politicians doing that. It's just to keep people confused.
Well, see, that's where last night I had this, I guess, revelation, talking to Whitney, of all people, she didn't understand the whole aspect of the spiritual and the lawful being connected. I don't believe you can truly be spiritual or lawful without one or the other. You have to have both correlate one another to actually encompass yourself and maneuver within the society of all the Marxist goyim that are out there.
Marxist goyim.
Well, I just calling it like I see it.
Yeah, that's Gentile man to you.
Yeah, Gentile man. That's funny. But my point to the matter is, the law and the spiritual go together. And
Of course they do.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be religions and legalities. Because the religions and the legalities go hand in hand.
Well, see, the old age of Pisces, which we're supposedly, there's a transition going on right now. You talk to different people, they'll tell you different things. Or probably in the age of Aquarius, but the age of Pisces was control under religion. The different nations were controlled by religious means, including secret societies in the later part of during the transitional period, going into age of Aquarius. So what they're doing away, Marxism, of course, does away with religion. The new religion is going to be the egoist. And basically, it's might makes right. And then anyone that has wherewithal to take advantage of people, so be it. That's the way it's going to work. And that's why everyone gets a gold star now in school. So anyone that's devious and smart can take advantage of these people.
Right.
Instead of, it's going to be the egoist is going to be the new God.
Well, the world builds your ego, does it not? And you partaking in the world's affairs of how the world wants your predicated life to be, that builds your ego. So my point to the matter is, when you read biblically, to separate yourself of the world,
yes,
it means you're destroying the ego.
Yeah. We got a break. We'll be back in a few minutes. This is The Ultimate Remedy. Got another half hour to go. See you in a few, folks.
Listen to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Be evasive. But that doesn't mean that they're telling the truth as opposed to fiction.
And Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, and there were giants in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came and also the daughters of men, indicating that there were giants before the Nephilim.
And sons of God, plural. They weren't talking about Jesus coming down.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I'm Steve Crawford, host of Factor Theory Live. Join me every Sunday night from 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Standard Time on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Check it out.
Join Revolution Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio B for Momentary Zen with host Zen Garcia at freedomslips.com, the People Station.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. All right. Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
Yeah, we're back. This is the Ultimate Remedy. Segment 4 for the 18th of August. Talking with Nathan here today. My name's L.B. Bork, founder of People's Awareness Coalition. Constitutional education and political awareness was the goal. It was working well until they commandeered the movement in 2008. And then they came out and got everyone thinking politics. No more law for you people. No more understanding how you're being manipulated. So yeah, they buried everything. It's unfortunate, but you know, social media did that. Anyway, yeah, this is Revolution Radio. It's listener supported, so we could use some help. Go to the website, freedomslips.com. Hit the donate button at the top of the page. Really appreciate it. Or Patreon. That's available for helping us out. Anyway, Nathan, you were talking a little bit about, what was it?
Ego.
Ego and in the world and of the world, or be in the world and not of the world?
More or less, that's being of the world, being part of the whole world system of communism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That
Of course, that came out of the Bible and it wasn't around then, but some of the same principles apply. Marx said at one time that history first happens as tragedy, and then it repeats itself as farce. And basically what they did is put a system together under Marxism or communism. They're a little different, in my opinion, my research.
Yes,
They put a system together under the 14th Amendment that takes a little bit of everything. They've got a bit and piece of this and that.
Right.
So, you know, as we said last hour, people have tried to pin down what kind of government this exactly is. Well, it's a communist government, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's got fascism built into it too, but it's been that way since the Jesuits took over Washington D.C. in 1787. When the Constitution was put in place. But yeah, it's communist because that's the world plan. And that's what's been applied since the 1850s. And that's a political plan and an economic plan. And if anyone knows anything about what the Constitution's about, it was about commerce and enriching the rich. So,
and now we got Trump.
That's it. Yeah, he wears a lot of red ties.
You didn't hear what I said. I said Trump Pence.
Oh, Trumpets. Yeah, Trumpets.
It sounds like trumpets, man.
I thought you called him Trumpelstiltskin.
Well, I do, but it's Trump Pence because of his running mate.
Yeah, the Pence, yeah.
And I mean, you say it quick, it sounds like trumpets.
Trumpets, yeah, trumpets, yeah. It's fine.
No,
I don't laugh too much anymore.
Prophecy of biblical revelation.
Oh, yeah. If you want to go into that, go ahead.
I'm just saying that they talk about until the final trumpets blare, and it's kind of like
Trumpets, yeah.
Yep, and then you hear the trumpets, and it's almost like the Luciferians are mocking once again, or they're using it play by play on however you want to look at it. So
that's interesting. I don't think we've talked about that one before.
Well, we have independently, but not on the show.
Right, but I think you did mention it once, but now that my mind's more clear, maybe now, and I'm not thinking of too much more than the program here.
Right.
Yeah, Revelation. There's another thing in Revelation that I see happening.
What is that?
There's a statement, and I don't know what chapter or verse it is, but it's in Revelations. It's in the book of Revelations. That there's the story of lukewarm. Know which one I'm talking about? The part of Revelations. God doesn't want you lukewarm. He wants you either hot or cold.
Right.
That speaks to me as they're not going to let you walk the fence as much as they did the last 150 years in this 14th Amendment system. You're either in or out.
Right.
Socialist or non-socialist.
And they're going to
vaccines or no vaccines.
Yeah, they're going to try and persecute you through it too.
Yeah. I've said for years that it's not the government that scares me, it's the people.
Right.
And you've seen some of these wackos that don't have masks on, or the people that attack people that don't have masks on.
Yeah, I'd like to see him try that with me, but that'd be fun.
How's that Jason mask working out, by the way?
All right. I haven't got my American flag sticker over the mouth yet.
I'll see, you got to get that done.
I know. I haven't found the right sticker. I want one that really stands out. But
United States flag is the U.S. flag, man.
Why now?
You haven't found the right one. Got to find one with the Star David in the blue field.
Yeah.
or the upside down pentagram.
Yep, that works.
Or the Church of Satan pentagram.
You mean the GOP logo?
Yeah. I don't understand that. It never comes up. Did you guys notice the stars flipped on the Republican logo back in 2001?
And do you know they did it right before 9/11?
No, I didn't know that particular detail.
Yeah, it was like August, right in August 2001. So it was like a month before 9/11 happened. It was like the Baphomet's coming out party.
Something like that. Fosse flashed that Baphomet's two-finger thing.
Yeah, well, that's the Freemason thing.
Yeah, well.
But I mean,
it's all the same. Luciferians, Satanists.
Fauci or Fosse, whatever everyone wants to call him. Why would Matthew McConaughey, who's an actor, be interviewing Anthony Fauci? I have not figured this out for the life of me. He's nobody. He's just an actor. Luckily, he had his shirt on. Because normally he doesn't have his shirt on in any movie.
I don't even know who that is.
I'm just saying, he's an actor. And for whatever reason, he's never interviewed anybody in his whole life. And then he interviews Anthony Fauci. And the very first question he asked him was, does the virus die in sunlight? And Anthony Fauci said, yes, within seconds. It's dead.
Well, so he's an ass.
Well, I get it, but
he's a Mason. That's why I don't get people just don't. It's dormant in everyone's body, but you're talking about how it incubates and turns into something more dangerous.
No, I'm talking about how the transmission of it from person to person.
Oh, okay, the transmission.
That if you're in open sunlight, it's next to impossible.
To transfer, okay. It's got to be on the host, so to speak.
Right, you got to be touching them. That's why I keep saying the whole mask idea is so you come flu season, you're going to introduce so many different types of germs, so many different types to the mask You touch your mask, then you touch money, then you touch this, then you touch your mask, and then you touch this, and then you touch that. The mask is what's going to harbor the germs and the infection.
It's like a little incubator.
Right. Your breath, which bacteria, molds, funguses, viruses, they all like temperature and humidity. The two things our breath produces on the exhaust breath: temperature, 93 degrees, and humidity. Above 90% humidity. So you're going to grow things on those masks, people. I guarantee it.
But everyone's doing it. Well, I don't.
Everybody's doing it. Everybody wears Nikes too.
Yeah. I never did get Nike shoes.
Never?
No.
Yeah.
I did at one time. I still got them. Nike glasses, got the damn swoosh on them, but I liked them, so I need new glasses. Oh well. Heard Nike's losing a lot of money because of the pandemic.
The college football.
Oh, geez. What's sports doing? Have you looked into that?
What sports doing what?
With this pandemic, I mean, it's take it in the hind end, or
Here's what I have been seeing is in my state, this doesn't speak for everyone else's state, is that high school.
Did I just hear a cow?
Yeah, a sheep.
Oh, a sheep. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm easily distracted.
Sitting on a farm, a little sheep farm.
Yep.
So, anyways, high school football has been reduced to 6 games. College football doesn't sound like they're having a season at all.
Yeah, I've heard
The
that.
NFL is having their season. And then the one that strikes me the most is I heard this years ago that basketball was going to be the sport of communism. They are having the NBA playoffs right now, and they're going to last like 4 to 5 weeks, and then their next season starts. It's almost going to run, the end of this season is going to run right into the next one, which is just completely unprecedented. So the reason why these sports are going on is to occupy us while something far more dangerous is happening that the government is not showing its transparency on.
Well, this virus thing was sure a surprise. Like I've said in the past, knew they were setting us up for something like this with all these movies that have been out in the last, 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
There's been at least 5 virus movies that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
It's setting people's minds up to believe it's deadly and they're going to die and all this stuff. So it kind of backs up what they're doing with this thing to scare people.
Once they removed us from the law, they had to take over our minds. And when they took over our minds, they used psychological tactic. This is psychological warfare right now, LB.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's the thing. People just, if they would open up the CDC handbook and the policy on a pandemic or the military or the World Health Organization, you would find out this is the furthest thing from what all the great minds have put together over the years, and massive amounts of money spent putting together guidelines for when a pandemic does hit, and they just totally throw it out the window where, we're not even going to use any of it. We're just going to make it up as we go along. It's complete, utter crap that's happening right now. It doesn't go along with any of the guidelines. Borders should have been shut down. If this thing was what they said it was, everything should have been completely shut down for a lot longer than what it has been or what it was. Because nothing was really shut down when I was out there.
It could be an experiment to see what they can do with the public. How much it will obey things the things that aren't lawful.
Well, I agree with that. And I do. And I also believe when you say that, I think they saw the retention limit and the writing on the wall that the stock market was kind of just going to collapse back in like January. And you had all the CEOs bailing on their companies. Bill Gates left Microsoft, all kinds of different things. Why did all these CEOs leave their companies from the December 16th to December 27th? It was like a 10-day exodus where all these CEOs just dropped out all over the place. I think the system was in dire straits then. And these people saw the writing on the wall, and these are the people that are running the world into the ground right now. And when you take in the fact that the Georgia Guidestones are written in 12 different languages, and the very first thing is to keep the world at a perpetual balance with nature of 500 million, that tells me they don't want me here. Or my son, or you, or LB Bork, or anybody he's affiliated with. They don't want you here.
I heard I was okay. Anyway, yeah, you know who lost the Civil War, actually?
The people.
Well, yeah, everyone did.
Right.
Thomas Jefferson did.
Oh.
He was for agrarian culture, you know, like the Amish.
Right.
And that's what we need to get back to. All these ivory towers in these cities, Trade Center or whatever, it's all based on communism.
Well,
that's what. Go ahead.
Well, we're going to have to get back to the agrarian society because that's the only way that's going to maintain survival. Because I guarantee we can't eat the things they're giving us to eat anymore.
Oh, geez.
It's shit sandwich. Sure. Shit sandwich. They got one of them for everybody.
Hey, I've got a meme for that.
I know you do, and it's funny.
I don't think there's a meme I don't have.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's really sad. I have some of the best memes. Someone was telling me that today, and geez, I made them for Facebook to educate people, and geez, I got blacklisted.
Well, people here in Ohio that I'm hopefully going to be meeting with here in a group, I'm hoping I can get 2 or 3 people to like start bombarding this stuff on their Facebook stuff and create something for PAC.
Yeah, we need that PAC army, as you're speaking of, for the social media. And we want to keep it light using this new project, I think. So I don't know. It's not going to take them too long to find out what it's about. Mm-hmm. But hopefully, you know, the stuff won't be attacking anyone. You know, they can't call us racist or anti-Semitic or, you know, whatever. It's just, it'll be truth, you know.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll gear it that way. And if they kick us off, and that'll prove it. They don't want people on here.
So,
you know, speaking truth.
But if we're speaking truth on the spiritual side of like Yahusha, how do we not get anti-Semitic? Because he was the first anti-Semite.
Oh, we just don't bring that up. Keep it light, you know.
An inconceivable fact.
Let people look into it. I'm saying just on their platform where they control everything, like the little libtards they are.
Right.
You know, I was listening to that Russian, ex-KGB Russian, Yuri guy, what's his name? Brezhnov or something. He was saying that, you know, these useful idiots will be discarded once things are put in place. So, you know, they're just useful idiots. Cannon fodder, so to speak.
Speaking of which, I have a Navy SEAL, an ex-Navy SEAL retired, that's pushing the Communist Manifesto attached to the 14th Amendment.
Oh, who's that? Some SEAL?
No, a Navy SEAL, an ex-Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
He started studying law and realized something wasn't right with the country, and he said he started looking into it, and he's like, this isn't what I signed up to protect. I was watching. I mean, he really, really, really started going into it, and it was like, wow, did he read the Red Amendment?
That's interesting.
Oh, it really
I
is.
know my work's out there, and I think evidences of that is what we discovered, or you discovered in the judicial canons recently.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't seen back in the 90s. And I have, of course, not because people haven't done what they're supposed to under the coalition. They haven't started their law groups. We haven't looked in every state. So, yeah, you found the judicial canons mandate that they recognize nationalities.
Well, it's specifically under biasness, prejudiceness, and harassment that no judge can partake in the act of based upon, and then it gives the whole definition of it, and one of them is nationality and political affiliation, which this is the two things that we are part of.
What PAC is about both those.
Correct. Correct.
So, like I said, they follow the rule of law, and people just don't do it because they don't know how to.
Right, and and for everybody out there, I still struggle with it, people. I'm still struggling with it because I want to make a judicial complaint against these monsters, and there's reasons that I'm not going to go into that they deserve exactly what they got coming to them. They're completely unlawful and they're foreign to me. They are no longer my government. They are a foreign government to me. And it's the body politic of the 14th Amendment, which I removed myself from.
Well, it's the people's fault ultimately, because like I say, people get mad at the government. And like we've been discussing about Marxist school systems, well, their parents sent them to a Marxist school. Garbage in, garbage out. So I would kick your dad in the balls. I wouldn't get mad at the government.
Well, it would be your mom first, but she's the one that has ultimate authority.
Oh, yeah, under the Synagogue of Satan system.
Correct.
Hey, got something right. All right.
Well, they just made fathers inconsequential.
Yeah.
We lost our balls, man. Men out there, we lost our balls. They're no longer attached to us. The government owns them. They might as well start a castration program.
They did. It's called Soy Boys.
McDonald's for the masses. Billions and billions served. Oh, boy.
So anyway, yeah, about public school, I'm glad I didn't pay attention. They didn't get to me. I've looked at that or thought about that for a long time. I did the bare minimum to get by, and I didn't pay attention that much.
As did I. Now, you remember about me years ago, I questioned my government teacher about the Electoral College. And she said, it never goes against popular vote. And I said, but you're saying there's a chance. And she's like, it never goes against popular vote. I'm like, I can't go along with that because it says right here that they could go against popular vote. And she threatened to fail me. I had to go see the principal that year. I'm like,
you always go to the supervisor.
And then the next week, we're all we're doing is sitting there filling out W-4s, W-2s, and 1099s. That's what they taught us in government class. How to fill out.
Jeez, I never got that education.
Well,
that's plank 2 of the Communist Manifesto, by the way.
It is.
Income tax. Oh, America's not communist. Well, how come all the 10 planks are applied?
Americans are in denial. Straight, willful ignorance denial.
Yep. Like Mike Gaddy says, it's not a problem that Americans are ignorant. It's just that they're so damn proud of it.
No, you're right. So right.
Yeah, well. Anyway, we only got a couple minutes left. Do you have any closing thoughts or?
No.
Whatever.
Just drop the veil of ignorance, people. That's all I can tell you.
Yep. Yeah, ignorance breeds fear, man.
Does. Yeah, U.S. citizenship is all based upon the ego, LB.
I thought it was based on going to a public school.
That too, but we're the best. There's no other country like America. Well, they're damn straight right. We are the first communist country there is.
Definitely, that's a fact. And the movement and all the whatever schools teach that Russia was
because communism couldn't have been any time before Karl Marx released the Communist Manifesto, correct?
No, he designed it. There was maybe some things that applied, but no, that manifesto was the blueprint for world domination.
So he took from the other systems of the world that were already...
Yeah, and that's what he went to law school for,
Gotcha.
to intertwine or incorporate legal principles into his blather, his red blather. So he orchestrated it, but of course he doesn't talk about the law really in his writings that much at all. So that's why people don't know what communism is, because communism is because they don't know law.
Right.
I knew law pretty well by the time I got into his work, so that's how I was able to see it right away. Anyway, folks, this has been the Ultimate Remedy. Stay tuned for Trump assassination files. It should be fun. Mitchell is your host for that. He's always got something fun and good to say. Excellent host. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll be back. I'll be back on Friday with Dare to Think Out Loud. Have a good week.
Good night, everybody.
Stay safe.